Hi Virgo, welcome to your April 2018 love reading. It's Raina here. Yes, I'm starting over again. I didn't get very far, but it's just easier than editing if I need to do it at the beginning, so here it goes. The heart of the matter is the Six of Pentacles, and this is a card of, see how the person is holding scales. This is a card of somebody who is giving to another person. There are hands outstretched, and the person, you can tell that the person who is giving is in a position to give. This is the Morgan Greer deck. In the Rider-Waite deck, Pamela Coleman illustrates it as more of an obvious thing where the person is of a position of some kind of wealth. And so it can be about receiving money or giving money to help another person. Because this is a love reading, I'm looking at it, because the person is holding scales, as are you getting what you give in a relationship? And you may be thinking about this because this is the heart of the matter. You may be very dissatisfied with your current situation. And because Virgo is a sign of service, sometimes Virgo people wind up attracting those who are more interested in getting than in giving. And we're not talking about 50-50 and making sure you keep track of every good deed that you've done and see if you're getting paid back for it. It's about when it's obviously very lopsided. And I'm sure all of you, even if you're not experiencing this, have witnessed relationships of friends and family of yours where one person is really doing much of the giving and the other person's doing the taking. And in those types of relationships, the irony of it is the person that's taking is not appreciative. If they were appreciative, oh, thank you, thank you. But a lot of times it is accompanied with disrespect and just other bad behaviors that further, demean the person who's giving, and that creates a vicious circle in and of itself. Now, what crosses you is the Four of Cups. So it could be a situation where you are dissatisfied, because that's what this card means in the upright position. But for some reason, the dissatisfaction is not being, you're not using that to motivate you to leave. And you see that the clouds are, providing some kind of, offering some kind of cup, which is symbolic for the emotions. And you could even say like affection or something like that. And the person's stone face is not interested. So in one, the other possible interpretation is that the other person, no matter how much you give, it doesn't impress them. They're never satisfied. That might be the most appropriate way of interpreting that card. That's that vicious circle where, and this, we know that this happens where, when you try too hard, you may be showering your efforts on somebody who is just completely oblivious, or who knows, maybe that's I think a lot of times their lack of acceptance is a manipulative ploy where they know that you're trying because of your insecurity. And by the way, I mean you may really genuinely love somebody, and when they don't love you back, that creates a sense of insecurity or triggers something that you've dealt with before, and then you're trying, you're just off to the races, trying everything you can to make that person love you. And they know that, and they're feeding into that because they know that that's what you want more than anything. And the thing that I would impress upon a Virgo person, if you find yourself in that vicious circle, is to realize that probably in the very beginning that you chose a person who was incapable of it. And so that's where your personal power comes in, is that learning how to choose a person who is capable of giving and receiving love. Because if this is a narcissist type of person, which is a very common dysfunctional partner, that person cannot really even give love. No, I mean, I was going to say they can't accept love. Even if somebody genuinely cared about them, they can't really accept love. And you can spot that if you're very careful, savvy at the beginning. Well, sometimes people put on a phony act. So maybe it's not at the very beginning, but that's one of the good, that's one of the best reasons to be very cautious when you enter a relationship, because it may take a while to rip off the mask if somebody's being fake initially. Okay. This is weird. For a minute I was flashing and I saw that Knight of Cups, and I was thinking about another reading that I did for another sign. So I don't know. I was thinking, whoa, have I entered some kind of a time warp here? Because I did get this card. This other card that I have picked is an oracle card from Colette Baron Reed. It's the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And I've been getting that card multiple times. So I was just remarking in my first video when I was laying out the card that it's weird to keep getting the same card, but it's possible that there is a theme for the collective that needs to be mentioned. But for me, I like that novelty of, different cards. So sometimes you have to let go of that need for stimulation so that you can do what is the message for everyone, for most people at least. So what is at the heart of this situation, or what is the root cause? We're talking about the Queen of Cups. Now, this is very interesting because my first thought was to apply it to you, but queens can be mothers, and cups, it's so interesting that you're Virgo because your opposite sign is Pisces. And and I was going to mention this, but I didn't want to get too much into the weeds, but I will mention this, that when you have like polarities, the two signs that oppose one another 180 degrees, a lot of times there will be some kind of similarity in them. And for Virgo and Pisces, there could be this sense of the victim that comes through. And when I see the Queen of Cups, I think it's connected to Cancer, but any kind of a water sign, if it's a mother figure, for, most of the people watching this are women, but it really doesn't matter. Even if you're a male, you can be influenced by your mother's mentality, attitude, behavior, choices. So an example of what the Queen of Cups can mean to your current relationship is if you saw your mother playing the victim or being a victim in her relationship with a partner. And so you just naturally identified with that and said that's just a part of being in a relationship. And it's interesting about this kind of a card, because this is a woman who is very psychic. She may be a natural healer. She may be definitely very intuitive and very compassionate. And sometimes people who are very compassionate, they're a magnet for people that are broken. And that's because that's who they want. They want the broken ones. They want to heal. How can you heal somebody who's perfectly functional? So the key to this is to learn how to have that same compassion for yourself that you have for other people. If this is a facet of you, if you feel that you are an empath naturally, and that you want to, you can like see the good in all people. That's beautiful. But you have to be protective, self-protective, and also to value your own needs, and that it's not okay for other people to walk all over you, and that you can have sympathy for somebody or empathy without getting in a relationship with them, because if they are significantly more problematic in their life, if they have a lot of things going on that create chaos or what have you, addiction, just a lack of direction and things like that, that can adversely affect you, and then you won't be good for anybody. So whether this is you or an influence in your life that has led you to think like this, it's time to rethink that. It doesn't mean that you close your heart, though. Obviously not. The spiritual advice is the Knight of Cups, and this is interesting because this is an offer too. Like the Four of Cups can be an offer of love, but this is coming from a place of somebody who is looking at the world from an idealistic way, and it could be literally a Pisces person, someone else of water sign. Maybe they don't have their sun sign there, but the other water signs are Cancer and Scorpio, obviously. But it's about choosing a gentle soul, choosing somebody who is, is coming from a feeling place. The Four of Cups in that reverse position could be somebody who has closed off their emotions, who really may be depressed, may be apathetic in their life. And this may be the person that you are currently involved with, that you are trying to make happy, make, heal, what have you. And the Knight of Cups is somebody who is, they're going to give you love. They're not just going to try to suck it out of you. And yet they may not be the most practical person. If this is a Pisces individual, for instance, a strong Pisces trait, they may be very dreamy and almost like, not childlike, that would be more like the Page of Cups, but just, even if they're like 50 years old, they may be kind of a big kid at heart, and somebody who, as a Virgo, you may look at and say, oh, this person is very impractical. Maybe they're not, especially if they are artistic, if they're a singer, songwriter, painter, and maybe they are doing a job in the daytime that has nothing to do with their art, just to keep a roof over their head. And you may, start to judge if they are in their 30s or 40s. Oh, have they gone far enough? Have they done that? And yet they may be a healthy choice for you, depending on other factors. And the point is to keep an open mind and not to be too critical, because you may have like this blind spot where you accept the people that are very problematic, who may have, maybe that person that you're with now has a quote-unquote, status-driven job or what have you, but they have an addiction, they have mental problems, they're abusive in some way. And yet you have somebody else who may have a more humble job, but they are very caring, and there's a stability there. Although the knight as a suit is considered unstable, and yet the Knight of Pentacles isn't, and I wouldn't call the Knight of Cups unstable either. So it's basically just the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords. So this person is coming from a feeling place, and I think I actually think this person may be a Leo or something like that. that was the sign that came into my mind, so I'm just going to say it. I've become more and more attuned to saying what comes into my mind. And I'm giving that as an example, but the point being that they may have a strong Pisces imprint. They may have the moon in Pisces, Pisces rising, and that makes them much more dreamy instead of like fiery and just gentle. But the point is that they can give love. They're not indifferent to it. What is coming in is represented by the Lover's card. So this is about joining forces with somebody in a romantic way, and getting intimate with that person, and feeling that desire to. Maybe you have been in this situation so long that you were almost like thinking, okay, I'm getting divorced or I'm moving out and that's it for me and, romance. I'm done with that because it's just too draining. And then you meet this person and it's like you really have a renewed sense of optimism that you can have that type of relationship again. And by the way, when I said about getting intimate, I don't mean that you just jumping into bed with this person. I'm talking about that you, with the Knight of Cups coupled with the Lover's card, the sense of intimacy. I'm talking about emotional connection first and foremost, and feeling like you have met somebody that you can have that with. With the Four of Cups, we're talking about disconnect. So it's like a totally different vibe that is happening. And the outcome is the Nine of Wands. And it's funny because I said Leo, not thinking about this outcome card whatsoever. That's a fire sign. This is a fiery energy. The other two fire signs are Sagittarius. And that could definitely be one of them because the number 9, the 9th house is Sag. So with the fire element in number 9, it could be Sag, and Sag is a mutable sign. It's the square signs tend to hook up, and the other fire sign is Aries. And this card represents, in the more challenging aspect, it would represent having such strong boundaries that you have a wall up, so maybe even like emotionally. But in this case, I'm thinking about somebody who is, there's a sense of renewal, because the 9 of Wands can indicate that you're feeling like very strong, like, one of the key words is a strong immune system. And so if you think about the immune system in terms of the emotional body, it's like feeling emotionally strong after perhaps feeling a sense of being depleted emotionally. And that could be due to a very positive influence in your life. And that's what the Lover's card. Now, by the way, I wanted to say that the Lover's card connects to Gemini too. And that's another sign that squares you, just like Sagittarius, because it's a mutable sign. And so that may be the person's actual sign, but the 9 of Wands is a very empowered sign, somebody who is recovering from maybe a sense of depletion. So very nice, very nice. I mean, especially since you got the Knight of Cups in the Lover's card, Virgo. And so I'm going to read this card, this oracle card. This is Mending, and you can see that there's like these angelic images. I have a feeling that all of these cards have similar depictions because I haven't used these in a really long time. I don't typically use oracle cards, even though I keep ordering them. And actually, when I do a general reading for April, I'm going to be using the new deck that I got sent from Hay House that is by this woman, Colette Baron Reed, and they sent me a complimentary deck. Of course, they want to promote it because it's new, and I agreed to do that because you know, I opened it up, and I'm not going to unbox it, but I looked at it. I picked a card for myself, and it's a shamanic deck. So it's more of I don't know, it's like indigenous Native American theme. So that should be interesting. Okay. Let me see here. Mending. Essential meanings. Forgiveness, making amends, healing after arguments. The Oracle's message. Each time we are hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding and integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. This keeps us chained to the very things we need to heal. The pain, the memories, the echoes of resentments, and the arguments that we rehearse over and over. Now is the time for mending rifts, healing wounds, and letting go of the old hurts in order to reclaim your power. Now is the time to forgive, to release, to make peace, and to make amends to others. Set yourself free. The relationship message is, you've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you're to move forward. I keep saying separate instead of separate or together. You and the other person are still experiencing the effects of a hurt that is impacting everything you do, even if you're not aware of it. The energy needs to clear. What must you do to bridge this gap? Closing your heart is not the answer. You have the power to heal this wound. Ask yourself, what would love do? Only good can come from forgiveness and an honest redress. And, you know, I don't think that Virgo has these issues as much as some other signs in terms of forgiveness, but in terms of at least acknowledging that there is something to forgive, I think that is the main thing. Because, again, you may be unsatisfied in a relationship, but still have a hard time taking action as a result of that. And I think because you have the Knight of Cups and the Lover's card, this, you know, sometimes this does happen where somebody new shows up on the scene, and the way that they treat you is such a contrast from what you're used to being treated, the way you're used to being treated, that you realize, it just really becomes apparent to you that you don't want to be in that situation anymore. And that can be a great way to kind of achieve that emancipation from this very trying and draining relationship. So that would be wonderful if this resonates with any of you. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please follow the link below this video, and take care, Virgo. Bye.